Yu-Gi-Oh! Can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, with many different elements to the game, from the competitive nature of the higher tournaments to the casual gameplay that you could experience at your local store, or even just collecting the cards if you're more of a collector than a player, and with many different formats from Edison to GOAT to the advanced format. Everyone can play this game differently, but this is our journey from going from a casual collector into a much more competitive player. So please follow along and watch us go from casual to competitive, all the way to hopefully topping our first ever regionals. What's up guys, Mystic Frost here. So we are going to locals. It is Sunday. It is, I want to say Retribution Day, but we'll have to see how well we do. Now, we have made some slight changes to the deck. We've been doing a lot of deck testing and whatnot. And I like to think we've got the deck where it needs to be. There is just one slight thing I'm not playing optimally. I'm not playing Magnum the Reliever. Now, we are still on the Chimera Fiendsmith Azmina, and I get Magnum the Reliever is such a big card. It's always ran in Chimera, but the reality is, every time I deck tested, I never ever made it. I substituted it out for something else, which I'll show you in a minute, and through testing, it actually helped me further extend, and that is this guy. Now, this isn't an optimal card at all. It's not one that is normally ran, but let's give it a try, see if it comes up today. If it does, great. If not, we can go back to Magnum the Reliever next week. That is the point here. We have looked online at deck lists, we have tweaked and we have modified and we have altered. I've spoken to both Adam and Matt at locals. I've spoken to Solomon at locals a little bit. I've spoken to Ryan through deck testing. So we are slowly accumulating the knowledge here. So now it's just a case of try different techs, different things, see what works for us, and then see how well we can do until we get our final build, just like we did with Chimera back in the day. That started off with branded Chimera, if you remember. But just while we're here, before we shoot off to locals, I'm going to do the giveaway announcement. Reason why is because 2 people have entered, one of which is Matt, and if he wins I can give it to him today at locals. So what I've got here is a spinner number thing, and it's 1 to 6, so odds will be Matt, evens will be Emily. So let's see who wins. Spins round, and that has landed on number 5, which I believe I just said odds would be Matt. So Matt, well done. This will be coming to you today. And speaking of which, I've got to leave a little bit early because we're going to pick David up on the way today. So I'll see you guys at round 1. Okay, so here we are in round 1, and this is game 1. We're up against Sam. We haven't played against Sam before. Last week was actually his first week at locals, I believe. And as you see here, I won the dice roll, and during my standby phase, he goes ahead and drops that shifter. Cool, fair enough. We go ahead and chain the Wanted Seeker of the Sinful Spoils. Stupidly though, I still banish it. Shouldn't be banished because it was chained to the shifter. But that's on me. I do put it in the grave, but then later move it to the banished pile. God knows what I was thinking. But what I was thinking here is I don't want to give up the resources. I don't want things banished. He did tell me he was playing a budget deck beforehand. He is working on Fire Kings, but it's not ready yet. So I've made a calculated guess here based on saying he's playing a budget deck and he dropped shifter. I'm assuming he's on trap tricks. Now, whether I'm right or wrong, we will find out soon enough. But as such, I don't want to chuck in too much resources here. So I'll go ahead and normal summon the Gazelle to activate the Gazelle effect. This will obviously get me a level 5 Fiend or add me the Chimera Fusion. Based on what's in my hand, I want that Chimera Fusion. So I go ahead and add a copy. Now, what my train of thought here is if I have to banish stuff on his turn, so be it. but ideally I want to try and keep as much resources as possible. So I'm going to set up a very, very minimal board and just kind of hopes that I kind of survive to go to a game 3. That's the idea here. But I pitched the Gazelle. So here's only the Gazelle should have been banished in order to summon the Witch. The Witch will go ahead and activate in order to set the Deception straight from deck. Now, from here, I believe I just set the Chimera Fusion and pass. Now, I activate the Deception, but I don't believe I trigger its effect because there's nothing more I want to get rid of. And I pass there. I think the reason why I activated the Deception is because then if I fused off using the Illusion and yeah, if I could make an Azamina monster and get that burn damage, then fantastic. Obviously, my opponent also now has to play through Shifter. I said our field is very weak. I know that. He goes ahead and summons Traptrix Malaria, proving that my guess of on Traptrix was correct. So he triggers the effect here, which I believe this one allows him to add a trap card. So he goes ahead and adds the Holotea. Now, I do get a bit confused by what my opponent does, and we did have a little chat afterwards about it, because he has said he is still a relatively new player. He sets a card, and I instantly assume that's the Holotea. He banishes the Shifter. I explained that Shifter wouldn't be banished by its own effect, because it only takes effect once in the grave, and that's fine. So now he goes ahead and links one off for Sarah, so now the Malaria is banished. So I was expecting the Holotea to activate here now to trigger the Sarah and get some Xyz summoning going, just so then he can try and set up the Ruflesia. However, so that's my opponent's having a little think about what he wants to do, and he explains why afterwards. He doesn't really have that many. He has one other trap in hand, which is the Ancient Living Organism, which he just does not want to give up in order to activate the Holotea, which is fair enough. I understand that. But he goes ahead, tracks down the... I can't remember that plant one name, but the other Traptrix monster that can special summon if you control Traptrix to trigger the Sarah, and that's fine. But we go ahead here and we chain Chimera Fusion, giving up the Kotal, the Gazelle, and the Witch on the field in order to fuse into Guardian Chimera. Now, the reason why I've done this is because Sarah will obviously resolve, because Guardian Chimera will be a new chain. So Sarah here will now set a trap, which is the Gravedigger's Trap ult. So now Guardian Chimera will activate, allowing me to draw one card and then pop 2. And I'm just explaining that to my opponent, how Guardian Chimera works. So we draw a card, and I believe I choose to pop the Gravediggers and the Defense Position Traptrix monster. So I want to... Oh no, I opt to take out both back rows, which was stupid, because of course this Traptrix monster stops back rows from being destroyed the first time they would be destroyed. So yeah, absolutely wasted that. Should have just targeted my initial thought was to target the defense position and the Gravediggers just to get rid of them. At least that way it would have still popped the monster. But he goes ahead, sets a card, passes. So here I was a bit confused. I was just like, okay, why not do the the Holotea? But then he goes ahead, flips the Ancient Living Organism. So you can special summon level 6 or higher, but basically level 6 and higher monsters on the field cannot activate their effects, nor can they attack. So fantastic. So I'm against a Floodgate here. So now it doesn't really matter which one I call out, because it can't activate its effect, can't attack. So I'm just explaining how the whole Azamina stuff works, where I reveal a fusion monster, and then for every 4 stars rounding down, I send that many that many sinful spoils. So I'll go ahead and just show the soul here because I have an idea of what I want to do. And descend the deception for cost. Obviously, I'm no longer under the shifter, which is great. My initial idea was potentially Moon and try and go down the Fiendsmith package to just negate it, but that wouldn't work if you think about it, because Desiree would already be negated by the time it touches the field. Apprentice obviously will not activate here, but I'm just explaining its effector so my opponent knows. And then here, I decide to link off the Apprentice and the Azamina Soul for the SP Little Knight. And because it was made with an extra deck monster, we get to banish a card on the field. So we go ahead and banish the Living Organism, get that gone so we can thingy. My opponent tries to Ash here, which I was very... not confused by. However, I understand from somebody who's relatively new's point of view of, you know, oh, it's a hand trap, so therefore it will stop my opponent from doing this. But, you know, we just explained what Ash does and basically how that won't have an interaction here. I did explain, like, obviously if the Nightmare Apprentice effect resolved, which allowed me to search, you could Ash that search because it's adding from deck, etc, etc. But when it comes to on-field effects like banishing or destroying, unfortunately Ash will not get involved with that. So the organism is gone, but because SP is activated as effects, I cannot attack directly this turn. Not like it matters. We have enough here to clear the field. So here now I just activate the Azamina Soul, shuffling back the... and again, he flips over the trap and it's like, I'm pretty sure that's just monsters. And he's like, yep, that is just monsters. It's like, cool. So I shuffle this back to add the Hallowed Azamina back to hand. During the end phase, Deception will set itself, but that's during the end phase. So yeah, we've got nothing else we can do here other than move to battle phase. So here we move to the battle phase. SP will punch his defense position monster, which has 1500, so that goes. And then Guardian Chimera will punch Traptrix Sarah directly for 2500 damage and get rid of the Sarah, hence clearing my opponent's board. Like I said, Traptrix can be quite tricky and they can build a board very fast, so you do need to be cautious with that, but it is a case of if you can get a Traptrix player into a top deck situation, it becomes very bad for them. But again, I was a bit surprised that before I entered Battle Calc or anything along those lines, why my opponent didn't activate the Holotea. Because again, that would have triggered Sarah, which could expect the monster. And obviously, he does play Pudica, so then Pudica could have banished something to the next standby phase. So yeah, fine, SP could have, you know, done its little thing and whatever. But so I was a bit confused why my opponent wasn't doing this stuff. And then after the game, we had a little chat, like I said, and it turned out that he believed he had to discard a trap for Holotea regardless of when you activated it, and he just didn't draw another trap at this point. I did explain to him that's not the case, so I do feel a bit bad that he's gone into the game not really knowing as such, which definitely gave me an advantage. But you know, we all learn. You know, there's no shame. I've got nothing but love for Sam here, because at the end of the day, he's came along, he's trying, he's learning, and I bet you, you know, anything that next week he will be even better. So we all start somewhere. And I've definitely made rookie mistakes. I remember my first locals, I activated Nibiru after I set up a full board myself, believing Nibiru only tributed my opponent's side. So, yeah, we've all made dumb mistakes. And I'm guessing, you know, people might comment saying, oh, I've never made a dumb mistake. And yeah, good for you. Like, some people are really, really great at this game from the get-go. Others, like me, have to learn as we go. But our opponent here activates his... Brigadier Trap, I believe it's called, which is just a level 4 body on the field. So during the end phase, SP will trigger, bringing back the Sprigateer. Here I go ahead, move to main phase, activate the hallowed Azamina. I believe I'll just go into Soul again because I just want to start sending stuff to the grave. And I'm looking at Muricia, but honestly there's no point. Getting the other trap isn't going to be all that important, and having the Omni negate, I don't really need a negate at this point. I've got him more in a top deck situation than what he would care to be in, so I feel pretty confident with a bit of SP control here. We just go ahead, banish the Gravedigger's Trap Hole, just so we do have that capability. We set the cool by because I know Holotail can special summon back a Trap Tricks monster, so I want to have that capability of just banishing. So here SP beats over his trap monster, Soul swings, punches for 12, and then another 3,300 direct, leaving him on 1,000 life points. He has one card in hand and a top deck. So let's see what he can do. And during the end phase again, Deception will reset itself. So our opponent draws here. I've got Cool by set, so if he does go to do anything with the grave, I can just get rid of it. And as soon as he activates an effect, I can banish SP and his monster to the end turn, which is what I've been doing, as you've seen, just to limit the amount of bodies he's got on field, just to stop him from getting into those rank 4 plays, because you know some of those rank 4s can be quite scary. So here he goes ahead and normal summons the Trap Tricks Malaria again, which will allow him to add a trap. Retrain the SP, yet again banishing both to the end phase, so he can get his trap, but as you can see here, he's got 2 cards in hand, plus the trap that he just searched, and unfortunately he has used his normal summon. So unless he's got a way to special summon, here now he activates the Holiday, goes to discard the bottomless trap hole, and I explained to him that no, you only need to do that during the turn it is set, and that is so you can spec it out really, really quick. So he just activates trap, gets the body on the field, and I believe he sets the bottomless trap hole now. He's having a look. Yeah, here we go. So this is what happens now. He links one server, then goes to activate Holiday's other effect to get back a Trap Tricks monster from defense by banishing it. He declares his target, and we flip that cool by. So we literally was able to just really play around everything he was trying to do. We were very, very lucky to get that cool by top deck, and was just double checking that Holiday does definitely target, because I wouldn't put it past Konami to make that non-target summon for Trap Tricks, because Konami seem to have their pet little favourite decks sometimes, and just give them a little bit extra on those sort of effects. So here, yeah, I trained the cool by, explained that it wouldn't summon as of yet because he has to target first, and then I have the chance to respond. So there goes his target. So again, all he is left with here is Sarah. He's got 1,000 life points. He's normal summoned already. There's nothing much he can do. The writing is on the wall. So all he can do now is set a back row and pass turn. So we know that back row is going to be the bottomless trap hole. During the end phase, the monsters come back. He was hoping that I would start comboing off and whatnot so he could activate the bottomless. But there's really no need. I've got game, so I just swing. And that's all she wrote. We move into game 2. Okay, so there you just saw game 1 against Sam playing Trap Tricks. We did take the game 2-0. Sam went first. Was able to do a little bit. He got the Fleecio out along with a few other little bits. But unfortunately, it was not enough. I was able to play through that board, crack it on my second turn, and then take the game. Again, lovely playing against Sam. First time I played against him, and hope we get to play again. Generally, really nice guy, really, really eager, and got a great love for the game, which is always nice to see. And yeah, so definitely looking forward to playing against Sam. again. Obviously, just sidestepping a bit, I did see him at locals, so I gave him the pricing from last week's video. Hopefully we'll be able to do another giveaway again soon, who knows, and yeah, the channel can only grow, and as it grows I will do more consistent giveaways as well. So if you want that, do share my videos with friends, put them in your discords, whatever, and subscribe. Hopefully we can keep this channel growing. So we started off pretty strong. New player with trap tricks, with the greatest love in the world when I say this, and I'm not saying it to be big-headed, but I kind of hope I win that. If I don't win that, something's gone horribly wrong for me. But moving into game 2, we got paired against Aaron. We're both 1-1. 1-1? Yeah, I'm 1, he's 1. And he is on the Snake Eye Azamina Fiendsmith, as we saw last week. Last week he beat me 2-1, and definitely an uphill challenge. Very powerful deck, very scary deck, and not something you should take lightly. Game 1, I opened 1 hand trap, I believe, and he absolutely annihilated and set up. No, sorry, let me get this right. Game 1 he won. I only had the singular hand trap. Game 2 I took. I was able to play through his minimal interruption when I was starting and set up a board he couldn't crack. And then game 3 is what you're going to see here. Is a bit longer, but definitely worth the watch. Might have been a misplay or 2 in there. Maybe there's some way I could have played this game 3 better. So please, any recommendations, let me know. But let's have a look. Let's see if I was able to avenge last week and pick up the win or not. Okay, so here we are in game 3 against Aaron on the Fiendsmith Azamina Snake Eye deck. Arguably, I'd say the best deck of the format. And look at my hand, 0 hand traps. It's going to be an uphill battle. During the standby, he shoots off the wanted Seeker in order to add deer bells. We move to main phase, and he's having a look at his hand. He goes ahead, discards the Lacrima in order to spec out the deer bells, and then the deer bells will go ahead and set. Like I said, we are in for an uphill battle because he has access to the Azamina lines without anything else. He goes ahead and just pitches the nib. Doesn't need it. Why not? Funny enough, he dropped the nib on me game 1, which really, really hurt. But here he searches the Hallowed Azamina, and I'm just kind of sitting there like shit. we're cooked. So he activates the Hallowed Azamina, obviously revealing Mauricia, or however it's pronounced. Sends Deception for cost, and Fusion summons Mauricia. Mauricia effect now will go ahead and get him another Sinful Spoiler Trap, so I believe he gets the SS spell hit. Yep, there we are. And he's like, Resolution, expecting the draw, and it's like, I wish I had the draw. I wish I had anything. Hell, I'd take an Effect Veiler at this point, because I would have Effect Veiler that witch. He links to for the IP, and that tells me that he has more combo in hand, because why would you go to IP unless you've got more ways of getting more monsters out? You know what I mean? So he shows me the Hallowed Azamina again, sending the SS to get the Il Sylvia out, which is technically summon number 4, if I'm counting correctly. So even if I had the nib, he is now protected by it. I'm just double checking the spell just to make sure that it can be used on the same turn, because I wasn't sure. And yeah, now I believe Aaron will not try and cheat, but at the same point, I need to get into the habit of reading cards, because trust me, I have lost games where my opponent has misunderstood what their own card does. Not saying that's the case with Aaron, I'm just saying it does happen. Hell, even I've done it. So just double checked, and yeah, all above board, so cool, off he goes. Snake Eye Ash hits the field, which searches the popular. Popular searches, of course, for the temple. And I'm cooked. I'm looking at my hand, trying to make him think I've got something. The reality is I got nothing. I am absolutely cooked. But I just don't want to give up. I saw in my hand I've got a couple of starters. I want to see how those couple of starters could potentially push through. And at this point, I'm thinking a Princess Pop, the old Sylvia, Omni Negate. I could possibly play through that, possibly. And then he throws down the moon here. And I was like, okay, cool, Fiendsmith, I forgot. And it's like, can I play through the Desiree effect as well? So it's like, now the Desiree's got the negate, we've got the Omni negate, we're getting the Princess Pop, we're most probably going to get an SP banish as well from the IP quick effect. So I was like, I'm pretty cooked. We are getting cooked. But the Lacrima is already in the graveyard, so that's something, I guess. He goes ahead, activates the pop, the Deer Bells here, pushing the Deer Bells up on the field and putting Popular in the spot and trap, and then just using the Deer Bell Popular to for the other part of the sequence, which is like cool. I appreciate that. And then he activates the sequence here, of course, shuffling back in the Fiendsmith, the Requiem, and then the Lacrima. But he actually decides to shuffle back in the Moon, which I thought was actually quite clever, to be fair, because then you're not reloading your actual deck with essentially dud cards now, because I don't believe the Snake Eyes has like a consistent way to cycle everything through. But now he goes ahead, links 3 into the Promethean Princess, and then we get the Oak effect, send 2 Spec Flamberge, and then from here I believe he activates the sequence, because Snake Aaron does here. I don't know if a lot of Snake Eye players do this. Aaron, believe it or not, is one of the only ones that I come across who I play against. So he activates Flamberge to put the IP in. He equips the sequence, and then he uses Desiree effect to negate the Princess, which he actually forgot to declare here, which is why he just puts it all back quickly and says Desiree negate. Just so, because then it actually unlocks him from Pyros only, which is, I thought, really clever. When he did this against me last week, I was like, oh shit, yeah, that works. Yeah, so he gets his 2 level 1s back, and then he gets to set his silhouette hats. And sorry for yawning, it's been a long day, but I want to try and get these voiceovers done tonight. And he sets his silhouette trap, and I was like, cool. So not only do I have the Desiree negate, I've got an Omni negate, I've got a Princess Pop, but I've also got a special summon negate as well. Then the IP can pull out and get an SP banish. So I'm fucked. I'm like, cool, let's try and bait some shit out. Standby phase. Let's activate that Wanted Seeker. He's checking his face down card, and he lets it through. It's like, okay. I really needed him to negate that. That was one I wanted negated. But cool. Gives us another body to work with. And I'm like, okay, I go ahead and pitch a witch to spec a witch and activate the witch effect. Here he goes ahead and pushes the IP up using Temple, which I'm actually okay with, because that means Scylla Hat Rabbit can't be summoned out as of yet. Now we go ahead and we set that Deception. On resolution, I go ahead and flip the Deception. On the activation of the flip, though, he does chain the IP, linking that and Oak into the SP. Now, the SP here will trigger, banishing my Witch. I go ahead and chain Chimera Fusion. Again, still baiting. But then he just SP, banish. And it's like, cool. I don't know why I just sent the Chimera Fusion to grave. I think maybe the Desiree negated it as well. Potentially. I think he chained the Desiree to the SP. I really hope so, because I actually had fusion material in hand. But anyway, so we ditched the Sinister Necron for the Apprentice to search. And here he silver negates. I'm like, cool. We normal summon Gazelle effect. Okay, so now this is where you activate Desiree. So I let Chimera Fusions go to grave for no reason. I had fusion material. I could have fusioned the Sinister Necron with the Gazelle into the Baphomet, which should have actually happened. There was no reason why the Chimera Fusion just fizzled out. So, misplay massively on my part. Wow. Okay, because then I'd have a Chimera Fusion, the Baphomet, which then would have activated Gazelle Chain 1, Birthray Chain 2, which would have baited out another negate at least. So here I link off anyway, just trying to make up for some mistakes, I guess. I can't believe that happened. Wow. Talk about getting caught up in the moment. So he's now thinking about doing the statue. And I'm sure the monster would have summoned if he did the statue. But he's like, no. The monster would summon and then statue would negate the summon. It's like, yeah, it negates the summon. Doesn't mean that. But anyway, doesn't matter. So a quick effect. Tribute the Requiem to spec the Lacrima. Lacrima effect to Foolish. And guess what I'm met with? Boom, School Drain. What the fuck? I've played through everything else. And then I get a School Drain flipped on me. And I'm just like, shit. Okay. Cool, I guess. And I was like, I don't even know what to do here. I don't even know what to do. Because all of my illusions have lost their battle protection. And I'll make the Chaos Angel, because I thought, cool, it's a big body. I can just punch over the Desiree, if nothing else. It's made with light and dark, but it's irrelevant because of School Drain. Guess what happens? Princess. Pop the Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel goes grave, and I'm just left with a Gazelle. So, yeah. Yeah, I could have showed game 2, which is well won, but I really wanted to show this game just to show the level of interruptions we actually ate in order to get something. You know what I mean? And like I said, technically, the board should have been different. Because the Chimera Fusion shouldn't have fizzled out. And like I said, then Burfo, Gazelle Chain 1, Burfo Chain 2. I've added the Mirror Sword, the Kotal. Foolish Tau. Tau would have spec back the Apprentice. Unless he silver negated there, then the Apprentice effect. Let alone the discard of the Kotal to add the Mirror Sword. Add back the Chimera Fusion. Go into the 3100. Yeah, the board would have been completely different. That's what I'm saying. And I could have potentially actually done more and played through more. I think the skill drain would have hurt, but at this point, if all went well, I would have had the 3100 body and then the Chaos Angel. Then the Princess would have came back, and then at that point, maybe I don't know. I don't know. Would have been interesting, maybe in another world, another universe, that would have actually played out properly. So, Aaron, if you do watch this, I do apologise for misplaying. And, yeah. So, but anyway, I go and activate the Lacrima here to try and block an attack. Thinking that I shuffled in the Link monster and spec the Lacrima. And Aaron's like, no, you shuffle in the Lacrima and spec out the Link. I was like, oh, cool, okay. Like, he's swinging with Angel here, so I was like, cool, I'll still take 12. But 12's better than 18. So, but then he doesn't redeclare with the Angel statue, he just moves to the rabbit, and I was like, okay. So you're giving up the attack with the statue, like, you don't redeclare. I'm cool with that, means I take less damage, means it gives me another top deck turn. And here we just explain that he did swing, and he's like, oh yeah, shit, you're right. So he punched me for 16, bringing me down, to, I think I'm at 4,600 at this point. So I'm not out, but I've got nothing. I'm in a top deck situation. I've got no grave effects. And I am against a stack board, but thankfully, thanks to his own skill drain, he's got 0 negates I need to play through. It is literally just a beatdown board at this stage. But then it's like, yeah. And then I draw. I move to my main phase. I actually drew the Lacrima, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't shuffle the Lacrima. And he was like, oh, don't worry, I got you. So we put it back. I draw. I move to main phase. As I move to main phase, time is called. And I'm like, okay, what can I do here? And my plan was to activate the Deception, discard the Causal, get to search, get the Hallowed Azamina, and then my initial idea was to get out Soul, send, but then it's like, oh, hang on, I'd have to give up the Deception, so I wouldn't get the burn and the gain, because that's what I was trying to figure out. Is there a way I could get a monster off the field and get the burn and the gain? Because if I could do that, I'll win by literally 200 life points. Can't do it. 2 reasons why I can't do it. First of all, Deception goes to the grave, so that's gone. Reason 2, even if I summon Soul, skill drains on the field, so I can't send a card to the grave. I can't move to battle phase because time has been called, so I'm stuck in my main phase. And it's about here where I realise, oh shit, this is what happens. So I lose this one, I lose in time. I say I lose in time, I was going to lose anyway. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here because Soul has the highest attack out in the level 6s. So, I could have punched over something, but as a whole, nothing more coming from that. And that is it. We move into round 3, 1-1. Okay, so it's now Tuesday. We took a little break in between filming, hence the slightly different outfit. I just got a bit too tired to finish doing all the recording. So as you just saw there, we had our game 3 against Aaron. There was a misplay with the Chimera Fusion, I believe. Looking through the footage, the Chimera Fusion I don't believe got negated, but one monster got taken off the field, and for whatever reason I just fizzled it out rather than resolving it in hand. So that was quite a big misplay. I don't know what that would have done for the game, in all honesty. I honestly don't. The skill drain 100% hurt. I was trying to bait out the Omni Negate as quick as possible, like with the secrets with the wanted seeker during the standby phase. I wanted to get that out so I could try and play through the rest. However, he let certain things go, which very good reads of Aaron. He really saw that they were just the baits and just let them go. So yeah, even though we lost that game 2-1 again, I am actually really proud of that loss. As daft as that might sound, I thought I played that game 3 really well to play through the amount what we was able to play through, and just the fact that you just had the more negates than what I could do. Like I said, the skill drain was the final nail in the coffin, and it just took me out. So, fine, fair enough. We end round 2 with a 1-1 record, and we move into round 3, where we get paired against Rob. Now, I was going to show you game 1, but honestly, I don't think there was a good match to put up. A good game to put up. The full match was really fun, really energetic, but as always with mine and Rob's games, they were just over so quick, and by putting any of that footage up, I don't think would do much. I might upload the full match as a separate video, like a live vlog game by itself. But in terms of putting something into this vlog, game 1, Rob summoned. He was on White Forest Toy Box. He summoned the White Forest Sylvia, I want to say, level 4 one where you normal summon, you can add a spell or trap. I chucked the imperm at that stage, and he passed. We then just literally OTK'd. Game 2, Rob chose to go first. I opened no hand traps. He set up a very oppressive board. I couldn't play through it. Game 3, I went first. Didn't open great. I opened 3 hand traps. One kind of brick, being the Deerbell's Witch, and only 1 starter. So Rob was able to activated the Deerbell's Witch. He effect veilered, and he just basically shut down my board before I could get anything really going. My 3 hand traps stopped him, as you would imagine, but he was still able to put something out on the board and push through the minimal resistance I had set up. And then we were both kind of in a top deck situation, but he had the better board presence, and he just was able to capitalise and build that board really, really quick. So, like I said, I might put the full match up in a separate video, but for the terms of the vlog, I just don't see. Like I said, there's not a single part of that where if I upload it, people are going to learn anything. So, yeah. Moving into round 4. So I'm now on a 1-2 record. I'm X2 for the day. It's only 4 rounds, so it can only be a 2-2 game, and we get paired against Ashley, which, cool, fair enough. I like Ashley. We have some really good games. I know Ashley watches the vlog, so hi Ashley. And Ashley was on Heroes. Yay. As you guys may know, we have played, I believe, 3 times. Well, Ashley's been on Heroes, and I believe it's 3. I've only beat the hero deck once. I know it's definitely beat me once. I believe they've beat me 2, maybe even 3 times with Heroes. So I was like, okay, cool. This is going to be fun. So what I'm going to show you here is game 1 of round 4, and then we will discuss the other 2 games afterwards. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so here we go, round 4, and I believe I won the dice roll here. My hand's looking pretty nice. I've got 2 Deceptions, a Causal, the Sinister Necron, and the Imperm. So we go ahead and we activate the Deception, pitch in the Sinister Necron for the cost to add the Azamina spell or trap. So we go ahead and we grab the Hallowed Azamina. So now here I decide to. I was thinking about what I want to do here. Do I want to go Fiendsmith line first, try and get Desiree set up? Do I do the Hello That's Mina line? Yeah, I really wasn't too sure. So we just go the Azamina line here. I'll show the mu ratio, or however the name's pronounced, which allows us to go ahead and we search out the Sinister Sovereign Slumber Moran, which is just book a moon for a special summon monster, which I thought would come in quite handy against heroes, given how much they do want to special summon with their fusions and Destiny Hero Plasma or DPE in particular. So here now we ditch the Kotal, search for the Gazelle, which now we normal summon, and the Gazelle will resolve as well, grabbing us that Chimera Fusion, which I just activate straight away, going into the Birthmut. Now here I was a little bit lost, because normally I want a Foolish now, the Sinister Necron. However, that's already engraved. So we go chain 1 Gazelle to add an illusion, and chain 2 the Birthmut to Foolish. So here initially on the flick through I was like, where's my Sinister Necron? I was like, oh yeah, shit, it's already engraved. Cool. So I thought I'd Foolish the Mirror Sword Knight, sorry, completely blanked on the name there for a second, in order to go ahead and get that into rotation, get that monster negate going. And we just grabbed the Deer Bells. Realistically, I could have grabbed Apprentice, ditched the other copy of Deception in order to add back, but to spec it and then search the Deer Bells, the original Sin Keeper, that way. But honestly, I just thought what's the point, kind of thing, you know. And here I've done 1, 2, 3. So Sylvia is the 4th summon, so therefore we have the negate. And I was like, yeah, cool, because I've now got a Sinful Spoil, Spell or Trap in the grave. I can just spec this out. And Ashley was like, what? Like, yeah, this is a nice little line of text that this card reads that a lot of people don't know about, because up until recently, who's been playing that? So I set a card, and I was about to pass them, and I was like, oh shit, hang on, Sinister Sovereign. And so we go ahead, banish it to get the Adusted Gold. We link off the Adusted Gold into the Link 1 Requiem. Then we go ahead and activate Requiem here to go ahead and spec out the Lacrima. Lacrima will then activate to Foolish the Fiendsmith Engraver from deck. And this is where having the Nightmare Apprentice could have came in handy as well, I suppose, because then, I don't know about anybody else, but I really hate having to use Sequence's Equip effect from field. I just feel like it's a really big waste of resources. So I believe here I do decide to fuse it off with the Birthmut into the original Chimera and get the hand rip going. So I'm just having a little look through the extra deck just to, well, first of all, we spec back the Desiree. Spec out the Desiree. Just because when you activate the effect on field, I just feel like it's a really big waste of a resource and material. So I really don't want to just give up that body for nothing. So I was like, I did have this Chimera Fusion in hand. Obviously, we've got to set the spells and traps before doing anything. We've got the Book of Moon, we've got an Omni Negate, we've got a Negate, we've got the Imperm. Is it worth it? And then it was like, no, I suppose not. I should have really fused into the Chimera, because we can get that ball rolling, and then the Birthmut Fusion could actually spec back the Sinister Necron to get that whole engine rolling again, and then we can go from there. But like I said, I really hate just equipping the Sinister Necron from the field, because it does feel like I'm giving up a resource. So Ashley sets 1, we lay it through. Ashley sets 2, we lay it through. They activate Dark Ruler, and here it's like, cool, I can't go Desiree straight off the bat, so I have to have to activate the Chimera Fusion. This meant I would have given up the Deer Bells to fuse off into the Big Bertha Fusion, but Ashley just saw the writing on the wall there and just went, yeah, cool, okay, we'll scoop. And that is the end of round one. Okay, so there you just saw round one. Like I said, it was interesting to say the least. Like I said, I definitely feel like I maybe misplayed there with the Chimera Fusion, but then as you saw, it did actually come in handy, because without the Chimera Fusion there, I wouldn't have had a card to activate to bridge the gap between Dark Ruler No More and the Desiree Negate. So that's always something you got to bear in mind, is do you have something you can activate before you activate Desiree? So yeah, game two, Ashley chose to go first, I believe, and they set up quite an impressive board of DPE and Plasma, quite combo heavy way to get there as well, which was really interesting to sit and watch. And that tag team is quite impressive, even in today's standards. I was able to put out some big bodies, but thanks to DPE's effect, where your opponent's monsters losers attacks, they just weren't still strong enough to punch over the Plasma initially. And then as soon as I was kind of getting the ball rolling to the point where I could beat over the Plasma to get the effects back, DPE would then step in and pop. So yeah, Ashley took game two, and I was like, okay, cool. So as we're siding, I'm thinking, as a rule, Ashley likes to play go second OTK heroes, as a rule. But they're going to be siding for going second. So I took a gamble. I let them go first, because in my mind it was a case of, if they've sided things like Nibiru, which I believe they did, that's going to cause me some big issues down the line, because unless I can get that Il Sylvia Omni Negate up under 5 summons, I'm not playing through a Nibiru, not properly, and Nibiru will hurt. So I thought, right, no, let's side. I'll let them go first, and then my bluff paid off. They were only able to set a card and pass, so which then gave us the free reign to set up and take the game. So we ended this week on a 2-2 win record. Not the greatest win record, but at least it was neutral, unlike last week where we went 2-3. But I'm definitely feeling more comfortable with the deck, that's for sure. I'm still learning combo lines of different combos and different lines, so I'm pretty confident we'll get there eventually. And that's the idea of this series. It's going from that casual mindset to competitive. Like I said, talking to Matt and Adam really helps. So anybody watching this, the best advice I can give you is talk to people. At the end of the day, they're not going to bite, they're not going to laugh at you for asking for advice. Talk to the people who are better at the game than you are. Not necessarily like saying like you're rubbish at the game, but like Matt, for example, topped locals 3-4 weeks in a row, where he consistently got first place. So it's a resource for me to be able to reach out to someone like Matt and go, dude, I'm struggling, what can you recommend? And then Adam as well is also really, really hot on things like that. So they're a resource that you can reach out to. So do that at your locals as well. If there's people there who are consecutively doing well and you feel like you're struggling, talk to them. See what they have to say and see what you can do in the meantime. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Sam is wonderful. I've spoken to Sam a few times, who was my round one opponent. He's got a YouTube channel as well. who is a hell of a lot more professional at it than I am. So I will see if I can get his link in our bio as well. So go check his out, because he is a returning player from so many years of not playing, where he's relearning the rules, relearning the game, and honestly, the vibe I'm getting from it is very much the Ruggles return to Yu-Gi-Oh! So absolutely love that series. If anyone doesn't know Ruggles, it's one of my all-time favourite content creators. Him and Rev's Cards are definitely up there. But his return to Yu-Gi-Oh! Series is amazing, and this has that sort of feel to it. So if you enjoy that, I think you'll enjoy Sam's channel as well. But anyway, I will leave you guys to whatever it is you want to do. Like I said, like, share, subscribe this video, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get it growing, and we can do more giveaways. But until then, I'll catch you next week.